In this video, I want to talk about Power BI template files. And you may have seen this before. When you save a Power BI file, you get the option like pbix, the normal Power BI file, but there's also an option for Power BI template. And a Power BI template file is like a blueprint. It contains everything you need to build a report, but it does not contain the data. So you get the report pages, the visuals, the semantic model, the Power Query, all this kind of stuff. It's in there. However, the data is not connected. So when someone opens a template file, they get asked to provide the data source credentials. So if they don't have the credentials for the data source, they can't connect. And well, that way you also don't share sensitive data. If you share like a normal Power BI file with your coworker, let's say you send it by email, or you put it on a SharePoint, and you're using, for example, import mode, and you saved it like that, and they open the Power BI report, they still see data in there. It's only when they click refresh and they don't have access that they get an error, but there's this basic data saved in there. And well, first of all, we don't want that. We don't want to share sensitive data around with people. But what we often want is we want to share like a report or a layout, because maybe there's a new coworker and they want to get started and they create a very similar report than what you created before, and we don't want to share like everything with them, but we want to give them like the report layout and some of the visuals, and then they can just connect with their own data and work with it. And if they don't have the right credentials, it will not load any data because there's no data in there. And that's a main difference from, for example, a normal Power BI file that you open and you see some data that is in there without even refreshing it. So now let's have a look on how to create one of these templates files. We can simply take a report that we have in Power BI, something that we've built, and then we go to save, and we say instead of saving it as this normal Power BI file, we want to save it as a Power BI template. And this will not overwrite your normal Power BI file. It will create a new file, a Power BI template file. So you can really safely try this. And then when we click on I want to create a Power BI template file, we get a prompt and it asks us, can you provide a description? And with everything in the data world where someone or something asks you for a description, provide a good description. Provide a description about what is going on, why this template was created, what it's all about, these kind of things, not only for your co-workers but also for your future self, because if you open or if you look at this 1 year from now, you probably don't know why you created that. Saving a template file is very easy. It's really just one of the saving options. Now you maybe wonder, how can I use it? Well, once you saved it, it's saved as a template file. It looks a little bit different. The icon looks different from the normal icons, and we can actually just double click on it to open it, and Power BI desktop will open it again. And then there are two things happening, or maybe one. If there was a parameter used in the report that is saved as a template file, first we get a prompt, can you please fill in the parameter? When there's no parameter, you will not get that prompt, obviously. Second, you will get asked, or the person that gets the report gets asked to fill in their credentials. And in my example here, I have a connection to a website where I get some data. It could be SharePoint, it could be any data source. So this is actually the moment you open the Power BI template file and Power BI asks you, well, please first provide me the credentials, and then I will fill the report and open it for you. So when I tried this and when I prepared for this video, I saved the file as a template file, and then I opened it and I didn't get asked anything. And I was wondering, like, did I do something wrong? Like, I'm pretty sure I should get asked for permission. So for my data source credentials, these kind of things. And then I did some search engine work and I found out in the community that other people had the same issue, and it's very easy. I, of course, already have a data source connection. So I save my file as a Power BI template, and then I open the Power BI template, but Power BI still remembers that I have these data source credentials saved in Power BI for myself. So if another another user would open it, they would get asked to fill in their credentials. But because they were safe for me, I was not asked. To test it, because I always want to test stuff before I give it to my end user, I saved it and removed my permission, like my data source permission, and then I got asked, which makes sense. I just want to mention it because I really wondered, like, am I doing something wrong? What's going on? I should get asked stuff. Why do I still see all the data? So I thought that's handy to mention. So to summarize, these Power BI template files are super handy because you can just share your report, visuals, all kinds of structure, but you don't share the actual data. People only see the data once they connect with their data source credentials, which is very handy because you don't by accident send around sensitive data. And this works especially very good if you work with multiple developers, for example, and they all want to share the same layout, but maybe they have different areas where they have access to, and you want them to work in the same layout, but with their own data, their own credentials. I hope this helps. I saw the option for Power BI template files for quite some time, and I never really thought about it, like what's the actual use case, why would I do that? I also didn't find a lot of information about it, like I found the official Microsoft documentation, and I will put the link in the description for that, but otherwise there was not a lot of information about how to use them, why they are good. So I thought I will create this video, and I hope this helps. If you have any questions about it, let me know.